Week 4 of the NFL season is here, and you're watching the 4Ps, parlays, player props, and predictions. Today, I got 3 player props I love for Sunday, plus 2 parlays, including an anytime touchdown score parlay, which I'll talk about in just a few moments. If you are new, my name's Austin from Colin and Shot. Do me 2 favors. Like and subscribe. Simple as that. Go do that. 100% free. I appreciate it. Let's dive into a recap of how we did on Thursday Night Football. A wonderful night. 2-0 for us. We'll take it. We had the SGP, which was CD to get 50 yards, Rico to get 25 rush yards, and Jake Ferguson 25 receiving yards. Pretty easy. Plus 120. We'll take it. Add the bankroll. We also added Darius Slayton's over in receiving yards. Only a half unit play there. Should have made it a 100 unit play. It was sweat free. He caught one pass, I think, early second quarter for 28 yards, and he caught 2 more for like 56 total. We'll take it. Let's move on, though. We got Sunday. We need to dominate. We need to have a big week, and it starts with cashing these props. But it also starts with cashing some Underdog fantasy entries. If you missed one on Thursday Night Football, we also cashed that one. So it was a great Thursday night for us. A legacy Daniel Jones interception. Well, right now, they got 2 free squares right now. Mahomes for 1 yard. I'm going to use that one. That's available for everyone, including myself, who's been using Underdog fantasy for years. But also have another one for Lamar Jackson to get 1 yard. You only get that one if you sign up using my code COS or the link down below. They'll also match your first deposit, get you some extra money in your account to hopefully take even more of their money. That's the goal. Let's dominate and take all of Underdog Fantasy's money. I'm going to show how I'm using the Patrick Mahomes free square later on in this video. You could also throw the Lamar Jackson one in there too if you want to. But let's dive in the picks. My last note, I promise, is my last one. We have an unders video that is live late on Saturday night at 6 p.m. I give out a couple unders I love. Unders, I have taken 7-2 so far this season. So they've been red hot taking some unders. I certainly encourage you to go check it out. It's 3 unders I really like for Sunday. So that'll be my last video I post for the NFL. For Sunday, you can go check it out. It will be linked down below. Like I said, posting at 6 p.m. Eastern time on Saturday evening. But you guys came for NFL picks. You know what I mean. We'll start with the touchdown parlay. 3 guys to get into the end zone: Mike Evans, Alvin Kamara, and James Conner. I love all 3 of these guys getting to the end zones. Mike Evans going up against the Eagles secondary that I'm not too afraid of. And I think Mike Evans getting the end zone after a rough week last week. Alvin Kamara, he's been actually grubbing in the red zone and getting a ton of touchdowns so far this season. I don't necessarily know if he's going to 100% play, but I think he is out there. Chris Olave, though, might not play, which should help us out there. And then James Conner, I love his matchup today. I think he gets in the end zone on Sunday against the Commanders, plus 806 on all 3 of those guys to score a touchdown on FanDuel. That's a winner. Let's dive in the props, though, and let's actually start with the guy that is in that parlay. He's my biggest play on Sunday. It is James Conner. I like his over in rush yards, but here's how I'm playing it. 1 unit is going to go on the over at 66.5 minus 114 on FanDuel. Another quarter unit, so just 0.25, is going to go on him to get 100 plus, which is plus 330 on DraftKings. Now, if you don't know what units are, standard measure of bankroll, let's say you put $10 on every bet. I am personally recommending you put $10 on James Conner's regular over and not $25, that would be ridiculous, $2.50 on him to get 100 plus. If you're a $100 better, that would be $125. Hope that makes sense. Obviously, limit the exposure on the more risky one, but I love James Conner on Sunday, and here's why. So far this season, Conner is only over his regular line in one of 3 games. He had 50, 122, and 17 rush yards, and he's had 16, 21, and 9 rushing attempts. Now, some could argue I had one of the calls of the weekend last week with James Conner's under in rush yards against the Detroit Lions. Sweat-free. He ended with 17. But this is a much, much easier matchup for him against the Commanders defense. And I think he has a field day. And if we can see the Cardinals leading in the 3rd and 4th quarter, I think he has a chance of climbing this ladder, getting to the 100 plus. Now the Commanders, why I said this is a great matchup this season, allowing 121 rushing yards per game. Really only 18th in the NFL, 18th fewest, so really closer to like 15th most. But they do allow the 3rd most rushing yards per attempt. So teams that have been able to run on them have good success. We saw in week 2, Devin Singletary looked great. He had 95 rushing yards against them on 16 carries. In week 3, Zach Moss had 58 yards on 12 carries, and his backup, Chase Brown, had 7 for 62. In this backfield, it's really going to be James Conner. He's going to handle the majority of the workload. We saw him in that week 2 game against the Rams, right? That was the Rams one. 21 rushes, 122 attempts. And that was a blowout. They didn't even get many attempts in the 4th quarter. This game's a little bit tighter. He'll get even more. We saw last year when James Conner had 15 or more rushing attempts, he ended with 73, 105, 106, 128, and 150 rush yards. So when he got the ball a good amount, he dominated and actually climbed the whole ladder, getting to 100 plus. His rush attempts line 16.5 on Sunday. And I meant to mention, since the start of last season, James Conner leads the NFL and 20+ yard rushes. So he's good at getting those explosive plays. Is he going to run away and get a 90-yard touchdown like maybe some other running backs? Probably not, but he's good at getting to that second level, getting those long rushes, and obviously those add up. I love James Conner a lot. Favorite play of the weekend. I like his over at 66.5 rushing yards, but I would play that individually up to about 72.5. And then I like his over just for a quarter unit, him to get 100+ at plus 330 on DraftKings. I really like these two plays. Let's move on to two AFC North wide receivers. And we're going to start with T. Higgins of the Cincinnati Bengals over 50.5 receiving yards, minus 120 on Fanatics. I'd play this up to about 56.5. I imagine this probably closes around the 53s. I like Higgins. I almost actually laddered him to 70 or 80 receiving yards. I ended up not going for it because he is coming back in from injury. This is his second game back. But man, do I love this matchup for T. Higgins. Now, Higgins returned last week against Commanders in that loss there. Didn't have a great game. 3 receptions, 39 yards, did get 6 targets, and did play 90% of snaps. Even though that was his first game back, they were like, T. Higgins, you're out there. We aren't paying you to not play. Well, honestly, they really aren't paying him. He's still searching for a contract, but you get what I mean. Either way, we saw that chemistry wasn't great with Joe Burrow, but your first game back, you're not going to expect a guy to be 100% locked in. But still getting 39 yards in a game where Jamar Chase dominated. I think this is a much better match for T. Higgins than it is Jamar Chase. If you know the Panthers, they have one good cornerback. His name's J.C. Horn. He's pretty good. He's pretty elite. He's been very good at limiting opposing wide receiver ones, how good they're doing. We saw last week, Devontae Adams only 40 yards against him. Myers and Trey Tucker both at 60+, easily going over this line. I think this is a spot where J.C. Horn probably follows or shadows Jamar Chase a little bit more, and T. Higgins is the guy that gets the better coverage. I really like T. Higgins. I think he's in for a dominant matchup here. Panthers have not been a great secondary this season outside of J.C. Horn. I think this is a good spot for T. Higgins to get going. Last week was the Jamar Chase week. This week is the T. Higgins week. We count on T. We only really need a little over 50 yards, 51. You can get that on one play. It's T. Higgins. He's having a monster week on Sunday. Give me his over 50.5 receiving yards. And then my third play of the video is another AFC North wide receiver, a guy we backed last week, and he treated us nicely. It's George Pickens of the Pittsburgh Steelers, over 49.5 receiving yards, aka 50+ at minus 120. This could go up to 53.5, 54.5. I'd still play it there. This was a number I had circled all week. Last week we backed him against the the Chargers. Not the greatest matchup for him, but the line was still too low there. He had 5 receptions, 7 targets, 57 receiving yards. Now he gets a very, very easy matchup against the Colts. Now there are some injury question marks here. Jalen Warren, the backup running back for the Steelers, is out here. So maybe we see them lean towards the pass a little bit more. This is also a matchup I think they can run and pass on. And the reason I like George Pickens a ton is since the start of this season, the Colts have ran the 10th highest rate of single high safety coverage, 57% of the time, against single high Pickens. He has seen his first read share where, Justin Fields is dropping back first read. 50% of the time is to George Pickens. So he obviously sees that single high safety and he's looking to George Pickens either deep or maybe on some comebacks or some crossing routes. That's up from his usual 31%. We know based on last year, we saw Justin Fields. We've seen him this year. What does he do? He likes to hone in on one guy. Last year was DJ Moore. DJ Moore had a big season. This year, it's going to be George Pickens. It's going to be him all season long as Justin Fields is the starter. I think it's a great spot to continue to back George Pickens. I still think this line is a little bit low, given the match, which is A++. The only game we've seen Pickens go under this line was against the Broncos, and I talked about that one, where George Pickens, you saw Pat Surtain grabbing him nonstop. He could have, if you counted penalty yards, he probably had like 70 yards, but obviously penalty yards don't count. I think George Pickens has a big day. Give me his over 49.5 receiving yards at minus 120 on Bet365. I love George. I love T. Higgins. If you want to back both of them, throw them in a parlay for 50 each. I wouldn't call you crazy. Finally, we wrap up the video with an Underdog fantasy entry. I'll throw it up on the screen, but a reminder, if you sign up using our code COS, you will get the Patrick Mahomes free square, which is available to everyone, and I'm using it here. You'll get a Lamar Jackson free square, which is available to only people that use code COS, and you'll also get a match on your first deposit up to $1,000, like a 50% match. Take advantage, use code COS, link down below. Obviously, Pat Mahomes is the first leg. Pickens, the second leg at 52.5, sure. T. Higgins at 53.5, and then James Conner, Underdog, man, they're catching on. They got him at 71.5, but I like him up to 100, so count me in. This only you can bet $10 on the free square, but hey, free $10, I'll throw it on there for make up to 60. I like that a lot. Reminder, use our code COS or the link down below. Match your first deposit up to $1,000. Pretty cool offer. Final thing, that's all I'm going to talk about. Those are the favorite plays. A reminder, when the Unders video is live at 6 p.m. Saturday, I will link it here. Below that, or linked right now, you will find an NFL Week 4 Best Bets video. Logan and I going through every single game on Sunday, giving our favorite spread, total, money line, you name it. Go check it out. We've been doing really well over there. And number 3, day 6. So the ladder challenge is coming. I likely will post it Saturday evening. Don't quote me on that, but definitely before the 1 o'clock game. There's plenty of time to tail it. And once it is live on YouTube Shorts, I'll link it there. I am going to the Colorado UCF game. Once I'm done with that, I'll be in the lab, and I probably already have it mostly cooked up before then. But you guys have a wonderful day. Go check out that unders video. Go check out all the other videos. Appreciate you guys supporting the channel. Let's have a monster week 4, and I will see you guys back again in the next one on Monday Night Football and in the other videos. Let's have a day. See you guys again in the next one. Peace.